Hi everyone, welcome to Analysis Comp 38, and for the first clip we're visiting Scotland. We're just outside of Kilmarnock, and my viewer's heading westbound on the A71, and it looks as though they go to turn right onto the A78. The collision that we're about to see happened on the 28th of March, and the weather was fine. There was no reason for this roundabout to be slippy. Just because the weather was fine, it doesn't mean that there wasn't going to be any black ice. This is a strong possibility for this clip. But what else went on? If this vehicle had pulled out in front of me, I would have been backing off and making sure I wasn't going to go past. My viewer doesn't accelerate quickly, but they do keep on going and slightly increase their speed. I still don't think though that my viewer was excessively going quickly. I've searched the road surface for any signs that there could be spilt oil or potholes. There is one little hole here on the left, but I don't think it was enough to send the car into a spin. Apart from that, there's nothing. So the message from this clip is, you sometimes can't tell when you're going to break traction. Therefore, being in a pocket of space reduces the chances of you hitting anyone else if it does happen. Definitely unfortunate, but avoidable. The footage isn't brilliant, but you'll quickly understand what goes on. Let's watch the clip. Usually I'd say there is a possibility to stop things like this happening by little glances either side, but it's not necessarily the case in this clip. No wonder my viewer was angry. Pretty obviously my viewer's lights are on green and they're turning right, but it looks as though that there's a left lane from the right hand side that's probably got a left filter. This also may have played a significant role in the UPS van continuing. At this point people normally have a little glance, or should have a little glance right and left just to check no one's coming through, but it's highly likely my viewer and the UPS van were hidden from each other because of this white van on the right. But slightly before this pause there was an opportunity to see further to the right. Perhaps the UPS van could have been spotted here and its speed assessed. But don't forget, everything that I've just said is vice versa also. The UPS driver could have done exactly the same, but they were that observant they couldn't even see a red light. Another factor that we commonly see and discuss on this channel is an A-pillar blind spot problem. And if we look at the right hand side of the screen, that's a distinct possibility here also. Absolutely without question not my viewer's fault, but if you're skilled enough, you can possibly do things to stop it happening. My last point is this: do you think the driver of the UPS vehicle got carried along with the other vehicles turning left? In any case, it was a dangerous piece of driving down to a lack of observation and concentration. My viewer accepted their part in this. They actually called the clip 50-50, but let's delve deeper. The super wide angle of the 360 camera doesn't help things unless you know what you're looking for. I'm sure my viewers understand that the distances seem much further than they actually are. Looking at the road markings, the pedestrian crossing is approximately 45 metres up ahead. Speed is also distorted massively. It seems much faster than it actually is. And it takes approximately 3 seconds for my viewer to get to the crossing, which backs up my measurements nicely. But this is the first point my viewer seems to adjust their speed, and that cyclist on the right has been waiting at the crossing since virtually the beginning of the clip. So why did the driver of the Audi pull out? This was exactly where I paused the clip last time, and it's a few frames before the light changes to amber. Does the driver of the Audi see the light change and expect my viewer to stop? I think so, and it's a terrible decision made on an assumption. But my viewer should have been rolling off the throttle and expecting this to happen. If you rely on reactions, one day it's not going to work. However, this was sorted relatively well. Just don't get yourself into the same position in the first place. My viewer's approaching this roundabout and going straight on, and are doing it correctly from the left-hand lane. But they don't stay there. This vehicle emerging from the petrol station has decided to go. Correctly, I will add. But my viewer causes all the problems here. A very simple clip to analyse. If my viewer had have stayed in the left lane, it wouldn't have even interrupted their flow. My viewer tried to incorrectly pin this one on the learner driver. Proof that a poorly timed signal is always worse than not putting one on at all.
It's very close, very close. Wonderful.
Probably.
Leave it, please.
Yeah, I'm turning right, you dickhead. Left, right, you mean?
The van driver didn't read my viewer's real intentions, but my viewer didn't understand why his signal was misleading. This is actually quite an unusual way for a signal to be misinterpreted and the danger that results in it. Where I'm going to pause the clip is just before the signal is put on. By the time it is put on, it's too late for my viewer to turn in this road. So there's an assumption made that they're going to turn in the next one. And look where that entrance is in relation to where the van wishes to turn. My last question to you is this: is my viewer's speed conducive to them taking this first entrance on the right?
Wonderful.
Probably.
And the simple answer is no, and the van driver from ahead did not pick up on this whatsoever. They just looked at a little flashing amber light, which most people do.
Leave it, please.
As normal, people point the finger before looking at their own actions.
Yeah, I'm turning right, you dickhead. Left, right, you mean?
Remember, if a signal could have two meanings, don't use it. No one's coming out from this road. Now there is, my viewer's probably not being seen. At this point, is the driver of the silver car looking slightly round to the left to follow this bend? Has their speed changed? If you put all of these things together, you can understand why what happens next happens. My challenge to you is this: can you put all of these things together to stop situations happening to yourself? Keep safe, everyone. I'll see you soon.
I'm alright.